Boom. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. Every Tuesday now I was looking this up, it's over 12 years at 9 o'clock Pacific. We have been interviewing someone amazing. Often it is a top producing mortgage professional or someone in the industry who's killing it. They live our values and they're having, high level, high performance success. And sometimes it's an author, a speaker, a leader. And today we have Jonathan Roche. He's going to deliver today's message. We've got an awesome call today. What's up, Jonathan?
Dave, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for having me back. Really fired up for today's topics.
Well, it's good to see you, brother. And I think I've interviewed you more this year than I had done in like 5 years prior to that. And there's good reason for it. So if you're a brand new loan officer in the industry, you're like, who's this Jonathan Roche dude? I'll tell you who this Jonathan Roche dude is. He is an award-winning fitness expert. He's a best-selling author. He's done the Ironman. He's finished the Ironman 12 times. So saying you've done an Ironman and saying you've finished it, there's a difference. He's finished it 12 times. He is a 25-time Boston Marathon finisher. And we're going to be saying 26. How much longer until we start saying your 26th marathon?
8 weeks from yesterday.
8 weeks from yesterday. So super pumped on that. He is the founder and CEO of Breakthrough Health, holds 2 patents in personal interval training. So Jonathan, we're gonna have to break that down when I'm in person with you next month. I need to know what that means when I say it next time. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on. He is a peak performance coach for both professional athletes, CEOs, and lots of mortgage professionals. He is currently actively coaching 4 of the top 30 loan officers in America, and in addition to leading Breakthrough Health Coaching. So Jonathan's just a pretty much all-around badass. And in the world of Mortgage Coach, I say, hey, he is the captain of positive vibe and positive energy. And while I am Mr. Mortgage Coach, and I think a total cost analysis is the most important tool and weapon for loan officers, the only thing that's more important, it's your energy and your vibe. The energy and the vibe drives a great conversation with the family. And of course, total cost analysis helps you deliver something at a really exceptional level. So Jonathan, I am pumped to do today's interview.
Yeah, awesome, Dave. I'll just layer on top of what you just mentioned as far as the TCAs. And for the team today, I want you to think in terms of the power of the TCAs, which Dave's going to articulate, you've heard about before, we're going to talk through. But within that, the idea of the videos in the TCAs, the videos being the rocket fuel within the TCAs, as far as that personal connection with your client and your real estate professional partners and other partners, and the energy and vibe that you bring to that video is the true game changer. The video itself is a game changer. The TCA is a huge differentiator. But if you can bring the right vibe, get the right preparation, get the right vibe and energy, and be fired up on those videos, and I'm not saying that we need to pretend we're Tony Robbins, but be your best self, that's an absolute difference maker that cannot be replicated. So that's part of what Dave and I are going to cover today.
Yeah. And, before we get into the big topic about bringing your A game to everybody that matters, not just your team, not just your clients, but your family. Before we get to that topic, I have been focused this month on the TCA a day challenge. That's something I've been doing with Todd Bookspan. It was actually his idea. He loved the idea so much, he actually, created some things on the Win by Noon store. These are like wall posters so that loan officers and managers could do this TCA day challenge. But I want to call out a new playbook and a new resource of value for all managers listening right now. Jeremy Forcier rolled this out literally a month this week. So last week, it was 3 weeks ago. And he rolled this out to his 53 loan officers. He had a handful of them do it. Doesn't mean they did a TCA every single day, but they had the intention. Like, hey, I'm part of this challenge. I'm going to meet with you, Jeremy. I'm going to forward you how many TCAs I've done. And guys, the results were stunning. In last week's sales meeting, where he did an actual sales meeting with about a half a dozen loan officers, in analyzing the results in the data, it is improving conversion by 27%. So literally these loan officers had improved with their credit pull to open loan, had improved by 27%. the group of them, and they had reduced how much price exceptions were costing by 70%. So, I mean, we're talking, I think it was like 37 basis points. So, I mean, we're talking serious money. So one of my goals at Mortgage Coach is to make that available to you guys. So over the weekend, we took that interview that Jeremy did, we transcribed it, and me and my team created an article along with Todd Bookspan. So a number of leaders have reviewed this. In fact, Jonathan saw a draft of it. Jeremy gave some feedback on it. And so you really have a playbook where we looked at the game film. You know, the way I look at that last video of Jeremy's, which I think, Jonathan, you checked out, like that's game film. That's watching a badass loan officer who's also an experienced coach and sales manager lead a meeting. So you've got game film on that. And then we broke down like, what are the steps to doing that? So I just want you guys to know, we'll put a link down below, but we broke down the game film. We came up with 4 steps. We came up with 2 metrics to track. So all in one place, you've got a little case study and you have a little playbook to put on a sales meeting. John, anything you want to either add to this, or 2, do you have some of your own leadership ideas on how and why loan officers and leaders should be doing sales meetings?
Yeah, I want to point out 3 things, Dave. So number 1, Jeremy nailed that. So I invested, it's like an hour and 3-minute video, and I use the term investment for all of you watching right now. It's an investment in your own knowledge, in your skill set, in your own playbook on how you serve. So I always view it as an investment. David suggested, hey, check this out. Jeremy did this video. So I invested that time, took a page and a half of notes, took a deep dive. Of course, I'm outside of the mortgage industry, but I'm blessed to serve so many within it. And as Dave mentioned, 4 of the top 30 originators. So I get the space in the way in which Jeremy just A to Z really maps the thing out and shows how to coach the team in an empowering way and have it be about the solution and equipping them. I thought it was brilliant. And then the playbook itself is super simple, but spot on. And my big thing is today, the way I kind of view this, if you're cool with this, Dave, is I'm the peak performance coach for the next 60 minutes for the mortgage coach community. So I'm coaching within this hour. And my coaching suggestion is when we do the work, when the lights are off, as far as our sleep, our water, our nutrients, our exercise, we are then in a situation where we can make the hour and 3-minute investment to learn from Jeremy's brilliance or to read Dave and Todd's playbook. We do the extra things, but if we're not doing the work when the lights are off and getting our A game on, then our negative voice, that inner critic, talks us out of this stuff, or says, oh yeah, I should watch that thing, Jeremy. I know Jeremy's a rock star and I should watch that thing. I'll do it later this week. And we get very gray from an execution standpoint and a follow-through standpoint. So I think part of what I want to cover today is this idea of, if we're going to bridge the gap, what I call the knowledge to execution gap, like knowledge, tools, strategies. If you look at the Mortgage Coach Facebook, that is an absolute gold mine of knowledge. In fact, I didn't tell Dave this, but we're hiring an intern, and her role is to take all the tools and strategies within Mortgage Coach and spoon feed it to me to then spoon feed to all my mortgage professional clients. And you could say an intern at a health and fitness and peak performance company is going to do that. And I say, yeah, of course. The point is, we want to do the work, and to close that knowledge to execution gap, we have to have the excess energy and vibe and positivity. Otherwise, you just keep spectating on the knowledge, and knowledge alone is useless. It's about executing and taking action on it. And again, I'm coaching you guys today. We've got to kind of get the nudge from the coach and go, man, yeah, I've seen this. I watched that guy, Shant. He's the top mortgage originator in the US. I took notes, but have you implemented? Have you taken action? And when we think of the playbook, when we think of the videos that Jeremy's doing and Dave, it's right there. And you combine that with taking action as far as the TCAs in the videos, I feel like it's game over. And it's set it and forget it. You got to do the work, but it's like you have it down. So Dave, you want to add anything to that?
I don't want to add anything, but I do want to ask you a question, because you always, every time I'm around you, you elevate my energy. And I feel like the community that we serve, you elevate their energy. So speaking to like, and I want you to speak directly when you answer this to a sales manager, someone that is putting on meetings, could be a 15-minute meeting, half hour, hour. What is one tip you would give them as a, call it captain of vibe, so that that meeting sticks? Is there something in the first 5 minutes they should do? Is there something in the last 5 minutes they should do? Just give me like one idea. I mean, you could probably do the whole call on how can Jonathan Roche supercharge and amplify a sales meeting. But if there was one idea, what would it be?
You have to be at energy level of 5 for that meeting. No wiggle room. 0 to 5. 0, you're dragging. 5, you're on fire. And no excuses for why you can't get your 5. Because the 5 doesn't happen on the drive into the office, or a lot of people on Zoom right now where like 5 doesn't happen at like 8:45 when I'm trying to figure out the Zoom thing. If you're trying to get your 5 then, it's too late. 5 was last night when you turned Netflix off. 5 was at dinner last night when you had water instead of a glass of wine or a beer. 5 was when you set the alarm this morning. Snoozes for pretenders. Any of you who want to elevate, snoozes for pretenders. Don't do that. Snooze is the first opportunity for you to diminish your self-worth. Don't do that. You're better than that. So you got up this morning at 5:30, you trounced your workout, you got your game on, you know what you're going to cover today. We're going to go through this video with Jeremy. We got the playbook. You're fired up. Even if they're at like a 2, by the end of the meeting, they're at a 3, 3.5, maybe 4, because you get your 5. You're not pretending you're 5, you're 5. This is what world-class people do. This morning, I had my coaching call at 6:30 with one of the top 5 originators in the US. We were on the phone at 6:30. He had already been at CrossFit. He was jacked up. He was drinking his water. He's on vacation this week. He still took his peak performance coaching call. He's dialed in and he has a plan and he executes on the plan. He's dropping 1.5 pounds a week. He's got the process down. He's got the vibe down. So when he comes into these meetings, for instance, what you talked about, Dave, the sales meeting, he's not trying to get up. He is up. And all of you who are in any leadership position, you're being observed. And people do what you show them, not what you tell them. So it's hard, right? You want the team to be positive and on fire, but you got to show them. You've got to be it. In the tools and the strategies, they're super important. But at the end of the day, we've got to elevate and lead and set the expectation. This is one of the 3 things we're going to cover later in the call, Dave. We got to set the expectation. It's 5. Like it's a 5. The energy level is 5. And the reason it's a 5 is because 5 correlates with your A game. When you're at a 5, you're on. And when your cutie kid wants to show you the art thing from today at camp, and they're like all fired up, your negative voice going, well, you're a little tired from the day. That's what pretenders do. Don't do that. You got to be like, this thing's awesome. And I know you've been dealing with issues with files and everything else. Who cares? A game at home, A game in the office. And for these sales meetings, 5. What do you need to get your 5?
So I'm greedy. I'm going to have to ask you a question after the question. I do want to make sure everybody heard. You're a sales manager. People do what you show them, not what you tell them. I mean, that is such a powerful quote and just a good reminder to every leader that's getting ready to step into a sales meeting today, this week. But there was also something I saw from Jeremy that I thought was uncommon. And you see a lot of sales meetings, okay, I'm level 5, let's go. And then someone tells you they didn't do what they're supposed to do. Oh, I didn't hit the TCA a day, and there was just, Jeremy was level 5 energy, but he was also level 5 positivity. Like he did not shame them. But at the same time, he kept a pressure around it. Wasn't like he diluted it, but he kept a funness around it. So one, there was a safe environment where people were going to be honest. They were going to show up and tell, if they didn't hit it, they didn't have to bullshit. That it was a safe place. Any advice you can give a manager so they can not only come at that level 5 energy, but they come with that level 5 humility and that level 5, I don't know, where people feel they can be vulnerable in that meeting. Any advice on that?
So you just threw a huge alley-oop because I was going to butcher it, which is level 5 isn't talking fast. Like I'm leaning in, you're like, dude, relax, lean out here. Like that's not level 5. Maybe it is for me. Maybe someone else is level 5.
It kind of is for me too. So by the way, I'm, level 5.
But a lot of people are level 5 and they just have a presence about them. in what you're alluding to with Jeremy, like if for all those of you that watch the video, Walt was authentic. He just shared, I haven't been doing it. And Jeremy could have pounced. He could have done 1980s management of you didn't do it and blah, blah. But instead, as Dave pointed out, he was very like, he was at 5, but in a nurturing way. He still held him accountable. He took him through the process. But Jeremy showed that when you're at a level 5, you also earn a couple things. And don't miss this, you guys. You earn empathy. You earn an ability to stay making it about the other person. Because when you're at a 3 or less, it's mostly about you. And some people go, what do you mean about that? When you're at a 3 or less, things are a big deal. And it's a problem. And what do you mean you didn't do the numbers, Walt? And I gave you the script. But when you're at a 4 or 5, you're not like, it's all good, but you're in a much more empowered state. And you don't need to rush into things. You just want to educate. You just want to coach. You just want to empower. And that's why at the end of that discussion, if you really look at Walt's face, he wasn't in a state of shame. He was in a state of safety, and his coach was just guiding him. And if anything, Jeremy had earned his respect, and Walt's going to execute at a higher level because Jeremy showed up as a 5. That was my view on that whole thing. But you invite authenticity. You bring your own empathy. And again, it sounds like a simple thing, but I think it's spot on, which is it's about them. Where we get in trouble in business, we want to make it about us. It's not about us. We're simply a facilitator. We're an educator. We're a coach. We're a guide. We're a leader. And when we wear that hat that we earn when the lights are off, we can take the team and just continue to elevate them.
Whew, bro, we could just keep going on this, but we got to get to the topic at hand. You know, my hope is anyone listening to this, if you are a leader, show up at a level 5 and do the TCA Day Challenge this month, next month. I'm going to keep doing this 11 o'clock call with Jeremy. 11 o'clock today, Pacific. Jeremy is going to be the head coach doing this again. And he's also going to be announcing what version 2 is, because he announced a 1-month challenge with his own team. That's over this week. He's going to talk about who won, what their metrics are, but he's also going to say like, hey, what's version 2? Because I'm going to keep this going. So we've got an announcement at 11 o'clock Pacific today. Jeremy will be leading that meeting. Deborah Burgess said, Jeremy is magnetic and attractive. He is high energy, yet super sharp, where people trust him, and he walks his talk. Dead on, Deborah. So Deborah also asked a question, but I think this is a great setup for the big topic at hand, Jonathan. She said, I definitely need Jonathan's help on nurturing our nutrition and sleep. What tips does Jonathan have for a very busy mind that has a time turning off my brain? As I truly love studying and learning, I do feel I have high energy, which may seem odd and mentally feel possible. Yet my nutrition is an F-. So Jonathan, I'm not going to make you just like jump in and answer that question, but I do want to, challenge you that over the next 40 minutes, while we're covering the topic at hand, how to bring your A game to everybody that matters, that you answer Deborah's question. Are you good to go on that?
Yeah, and I'll just say from watching that video, Deborah's a 5. I get her. I've seen her on your other, she's been on Mortgage Coach a bunch of times. I get her. But what happens is some people that are wired, they're just wired they show up, is these habits that are happening again with the lights off, whether it's water, nutrients, positive content, limiting alcohol consumption, they don't become things that are like forced on them because they can kind of show up and bring their A game. I call it the curse of positive energy, which you could say, why is that a curse? Because you could just bring your A game. Like we could be like, Deborah, go in and meet with the Smiths. We need them, they're a key client of ours. And she'd look at us and be like, what do you mean? She says, go in, Deborah, do the Deborah magic. So we'll discuss that in the 40 minutes. I want to throw one more thing, and then I promise to move on in like 30 seconds, Dave, from the TCA.
Go as long as you want.
I'm obviously not a mortgage professional. I was a financial analyst before I dropped my 44 pounds when my father passed away. Story for a different time, but I get numbers. I get what you guys are doing. But Jeremy's share of his file starts to apps of 64% year to date doesn't take a physicist. And he obviously is a TCA machine. So that's why within this challenge, he's not seeing huge bumps in his numbers because this is his playbook. But as a mortgage professional, all of you guys, it's like you watch Jeremy execute. You get the playbook from Dave and Todd, and then Jeremy's got the data to validate and authenticate that it just flat out works. Like, and then I text Dave while I'm watching it, and Dave can say, yeah, he did. I text, I go, how long is it? What's the average time to do a TCA? Because as a numbers guy, I'm like, how long does this take? And then he writes back 3 to 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why aren't people doing this? So I'll leave it at that and get off my soapbox about it. But it's that strategy is there, the tools there, the videos there, Jeremy's brilliance there, the playbook's there. And my role for these next 30 or 40 minutes is to get you to see the importance of how you show up, and most importantly, what's going on with your inner dialogue that has you go, yes, I know Jeremy's a rock star. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to test it for 7 days or 3 weeks or whatever. And then you can add that to your toolbox of execution. So I'll have that be the cutoff on the TCA. But I just, again, as a non-industry person, I just think it's brilliant, the whole thing.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. And it is. Now, to get to where you can do a TCA in less than 5 minutes and 3, you got to do it about 20 times. Yeah. The first time you do it, it will be harder. It will take longer. And every time for the first 5 to 10, it'll be clunky. But guys, after you've done it 10 times, you will, the tech part, the data input, how to do it, it'll get easy. And if it is taking you more than 5 minutes, you are doing something wrong. Like, even if you can't type and you're like a Hunter Pecker, you're doing something wrong. So make sure you email our support team. There's a great video we'll put down below. It's how to fast track or the fastest way to create a total cost analysis. We'll put a link down below. Watch that video, guys. So Jonathan, let's get into the topic at hand, rock it out, talk about what we need to do so that we can be best for everybody, not just our clients and our team.
Yeah, awesome, Dave. So today's topic is, what are the 3 key moves to position you to be able to bring your A game to your family, to your team, to your clients, to your real estate professional partners, really anyone you engage with. How do you bring your A game? The first thing I'll point out, and again, I'm coaching you guys today, so I'm just going to be super transparent and candid. First thing I'm going to point out, you can't do everything. And some people say, well, you just said we could. No, I said you could bring your A game to those 4 or 5 key audiences, but you can't do everything. You can't go play golf every Saturday and Sunday morning, drink 4 to 6 beers on Friday and Saturday night, still bring your A game, go to Renee's event, stay out till midnight after, having 5 drinks on Wednesday night. Like, we can't do everything. And I don't mean that to lecture you guys, but even this week, the lead into Renee's brilliant event that's going to happen, the Amplify event, a lot of you guys are going in Vegas. And I have specifically tactically gone through with my mortgage professionals their exact flow to their time in Vegas, which you could be like, what? This is exactly what I do with pro athletes, college athletes, which is, you need specifics. You need a plan in advance so you can work the plan and make sure to maximize your time. And I bring up this idea of you can't do everything, just to set the expectation before we go through this conversation, which is, there's some things that you need to give up if you're going to be world class. And it's hard, but it is so worth it when you're at energy 5 all the time and you're on fire and you're game ready. That's a concept we've covered many times. We want to be game ready. And if you look at world-class athletes and world-class business executives, they are game ready. I was talking about Deborah, the whole idea of like, hey, Deborah, go in and meet with the Smiths. If you are an A player, you're a game ready. You can deal with a crisis immediately. You can pounce on a top opportunity immediately. If I get a call from a dad or an agent or a coach about a player, I don't try to set the call up. What I do is try to get them, can we jump on the phone with the player right now? Which you could be like, no, don't you want to do a little research? No. If the agent is ready and knows and is heard about my reputation, I want to get the player on the phone right now and talk about how she or he can elevate based on how I can coach them. I'm game ready, always. And there's fees to that. I just nailed a 6-mile run along the ocean, and I was doing my final preparation about our time today. And I was thinking, and you didn't ask the question, but the last time that I consumed more than 2 beers in a night was my 30th birthday. And I'm 49 years old. I've never had a problem with alcohol, so it wasn't like some decision. But I just decided when I turned 30, I was like, it's A game only from now on. I'm not losing 1 minute of me being at my best. That's part of the fees I'm going to pay. And that's not, I'm not telling you guys, you have to give up alcohol, you have to do this or that, but there's fees to be paid. And when we think in terms of our A game, so that idea of like your cutie daughter brings her art project and she wants your eyes to be like, this is awesome. What is that? She goes, it's a dinosaur. And you go, oh my gosh, that's the best dinosaur. And then your wife's looking over and like, my gosh, she's in a great mood right now. Yeah, because you have excess energy in the bucket to bring your A game to the most important team. And what I've seen with so many people in the business world, particularly mortgage professionals, over these last 18 months, is the volume, the complexity, the Zoom versus in person has left people with this built-in excuse. I'm sorry, I'm calling some of you guys out for why you can bench your best stuff, why you can not be at your absolute best. And it's just a chaotic industry right now. There's a lot of volume. I'm sorry, those are excuses. If you're doing the work when the lights are off and you're keying in on the three, key moves that I'm going to talk about in a minute here, then you can bring your A game to your clients. You can bring it, most importantly, to your family. You can bring it to your team. You can bring it to your real estate professional partners because you've earned that in advance. But don't let your negative voice fool you that we can have everything. And it doesn't mean you need to be a robot and go to bed at 8:30 when you're in Vegas for Renee's event. Oh, I got to go home and go back to the hotel. It just means there's a commitment to excellence. And if I get anything across today, I am going to call some of you out. Excuse my candor, but I'm doing it anyway. It's time to elevate and stop pretending that your B+ game or your A- game is good enough. It's not. It's not for your family. It's not for your kids. It's not for you. It's not for your clients. It's not for your team. It's not for anyone. And at some point, someone needs to call you out. I'm calling you out today to say, nudge, nudge, let's elevate. So let's talk about these three. Dave, do you want to jump in on that before I go into the actual 3 key strategies?
No, I mean, you're killing it. Let's get into the 3 key strategies.
Okay, awesome. So the first one, super simple, but don't let the simplicity fool you. And we talk about this almost every time I'm blessed to be on the podcast here with Dave, which is nailing your voice choice. It's a simple term. Nail your voice choice. What does your voice choice mean? Each day, each morning, and then periodically throughout the day, we have a choice. Who is going to get the podium? Is it going to be our positive voice that's fired up and excited and is looking at what's right? Or is it going to be our negative voice that's in this perpetual state of stress and worried about everything and wants to point out everything that's wrong with your clients and with your processor, in your wife, in your house, in your car, in your boss, in the PTO? Your negative voice wants to focus on everything that's counter to you thriving. And so we want to be intentional each morning to choose our positive voice and then check in periodically throughout the day, ideally at least 5 times. You can do a reminder on your phone. You just write voice choice with a question mark. And if you've gotten away, maybe you nailed your Peloton workout this morning, you were jacked up, and then by like 11, you're kind of stressed and a little off your game. Little reminder comes in, who's at the podium? You realize, like, I gotta get my positive voice back at the podium. There's been a couple issues this morning, but we're killing it. We got a couple closes this afternoon. We're meeting with a couple families. We're going through Jeremy's sales, his videos. This is awesome. Get back in that state. It's a simple thing, but if you don't nail your voice choice, that has a domino effect. And we covered this, I think, last time I was on, but I just want to reiterate it because repetition is key to coaching. So the first most important decision you make is your voice choice. And then the second thing that's a product of that voice choice is your thoughts. So your positive or negative thoughts are a product of which choice, voice you choose. And then your actions, the third domino, that's a product of your thoughts. And then obviously your results or lack of results flow from your actions. But that first domino is this key move of being intentional about choosing your positive voice. Dave, do you want to add anything to that or any questions on that?
I mean, the only thing I would add is, I personally think it's number one and it's everything. Like I think of everything that's been positive in my life, picking that voice choice and taking inventory in a way that's honest. I've coached a lot of folks, over my tenure in business. And, there's folks that are always at level 5 and positive. And there's folks that are in the middle, and then there's folks that are at the bottom, that are more negative than positive. And the people that are more negative than positive usually don't even know it. It's become such a habit that they don't know the difference between it. So I would just push everybody on this call. I mean, this is gold value. And if you're wondering, am I more positive than negative? Go ask someone that knows you and loves you, and just, kind of do a little personal inventory of how are you showing up in the world. And if you're level 5, you're level 5. It's pretty rare that I meet or talk to someone or mentor someone that's like, I'm a level 5. And I'm like, no, you're not, like they are, but usually it's that like 3. I mean, no one's like, oh, I'm level 1, I'm level 2.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just think that it's everything, brother. It's great leadership. And I think it's on point with the message that you're delivering today.
Awesome. I'll just layer one thing on top of that, which is, so the range is 0 to 5, right? 0, you're absolutely dragging. 5, you're on fire. And if you take this realistic assessment of, all right, where am I? And just be, again, super candid with yourself. Say you're at a 3. Now your negative voice, that inner dialogue goes, oh my gosh, you're a 3. No wonder you have problems with, that's not what the topic's about. The topic is about realizing you're a 3, and then doing the simple but profound question, which is, how do I earn my 5? What do I need? Do I need water? Do I need to set bedtime? Do I need to blow off the snooze button? Do I need to get back on the Peloton bike or the Energy Up or whatever your deal is to get your exercise in? What do you need to elevate? And then also celebrate, all right, cool. If year to date, if Q2 is your biggest quarter in a couple of years and you're at a 3, what do you think Q3 and Q4 are going to look like as you earn your 5 and you elevate, get your TCAs locked in, you get the videos with them, you're on, energy's on, you're going to get even more of a lift. So it's not about rear view mirror. Oh my gosh, Susie, you're at a 3, or oh my gosh, Pete, you're at a 2. Who cares? It's not about where you are. It's about where you're going. And then realizing the opportunity of where you are, because an issue that I've seen is a lot of people that are 3 or less, they don't even know it, as Dave just alluded to, or they think like, oh no, I'm a 5, but you can see a 5 from like a mile away. They come into like a room. Like, I'll just point this out, as you guys go to Renee's event, a lot of you at Amplify, you can see the 5s around the room. And it doesn't mean they're walking down the aisle 80 miles an hour, but they just have this look like, man, something's like really happening right now. We want to be inspired by that. This is what I talk to my athletes and executives about, which is world-class people are inspired by personal excellence. Non-world-class people are jealous of it. Not jealous like you're in high school, but jealous kind of like, oh, he's always Mr. Happy or she's Mrs. Happy. The first thing is the voice choice.
Oh, sorry about that. Jack just came home, so
oh, awesome.
Go ahead with number 2, but he can hear you.
Yeah, awesome. So the second thing is elevating our expectations. We've got to elevate our expectation, and we've got to define our expectations in order to elevate them. Because when we keep things gray, we can't improve them. So we want to elevate our expectations. The expectation should be that you are at energy level of 5, and that you bring that 5, most importantly, to your family, but you also bring it to your team, to your clients, and your real estate professional partners. It's a 5. That's the expectation. No different than an athlete. An athlete can go into, say like an NFL player can join the NFL, and he can decide that he wants to make the team. That's one way to do it. He can decide that he's going to be on the all-rookie team. That's another way to do it. He can decide that he's going to be an all-pro as a rookie. He can make the decision that he knows that he can earn the all-decade team over the course of his next 10 years of his career. We want to set very lofty expectations when it comes to our energy and our vibe in order to gift our family, in our team, and our clients, and our real estate professionals our A game. It's about expectations. And some of you, again, I'm coaching you today. Some of you won't like the candor, but I'm doing it anyway, which is some of you have gotten lazy as far as your expectations of your best self. And if you want a quick path to that, maybe you don't do it during our podcast right now, go find your wedding picture and spend the rest of the day with your wedding picture over to the left of your computer, because your negative voice thinks that she or he's gone. Oh, no, that that was 20 years ago. That was, for me, it was 16 years ago. Oh my gosh, you can't be him anymore. Yeah, we're not going to look exactly like him or her, but that lady's still in there. That guy, remember who he was? We walked down the aisle, he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. She's amazing. This is incredible, right? That day was the best day of our lives. And that energy we brought to that day, she's still in there. He's still in there. In our negative voice going, no, things are different. We got 3 kids, we got the business, we got the mortgage professional. Yeah, you got all this stuff going on. But guess what? You can get back to that weight. You can get back to that energy. You can get back to that vibe. In a path to that, again, is this idea of your expectations. And some of you be like, that's kind of weird. What if you don't put my wedding picture? You don't know why, because you can't hide from it. You want to look at it and be like, God, I was like fit there. And that's an opportunity. Again, this is about expectations. We want to raise our expectations about being in an energy level of 5 for our families. And I'll just layer one thing on top of this, Dave, and for the team, which is we do what we have to do, not what we should do or what we want to do. And you go, what does that mean? I'll say it again. We do what we have to do, not what we should do or what we want to do. So if you can courageously decide that you have to be at an energy level 5 for your family, you'll do it. But if you go, oh, I probably should, or I'd like to, you'll get casual and you'll hit the snooze and you'll blow off the workouts and you don't watch the nutrients you're putting in your body. And before we go into step number 3, I just want to add something, which is the details matter. They matter. So like the athletes I train and the mortgage professionals that, are going to Renee's event. And then I have another one that's going to speak at another event later this week. Everything's very detailed. The timing, the exact workouts, what days, the bedtimes, which you can be like, what are you, an adult babysitter? No, you know what I am? I'm a facilitator of personal excellence with accountability. And it just flat out works. I don't say, well, did you go to bed at 10:30? Like we talked about, I don't do that. I don't babysit, but I set a level of expectation and standards. The details matter. Our negative voice, by the way, I don't really love the word hate, but I'm going to use it anyway. Our negative voice hates details. Our negative voice loves everything to be very casual. Oh, no, Dave, we'll do it later. Oh, yeah, the Renee thing. I'll meet you for a workout on Thursday morning. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about it Wednesday night. It's not going to happen. But if I text Dave, hey, I'm going to be, which I'm not going to be, but if I was going to be, hey, I'm going to be at Renee's thing Thursday morning. You want to meet me at 6? He may be like, yeah, whatever. I'm not doing it. But at that point, it's defined. I'm meeting Dave at 6 a.m. One of my clients that is going to Renee's event, I asked him his workouts, and he said, I'm working out at this time on Wednesday. I'm working on this time on Thursday. I'm working on this time on Friday. Like, it was like there was no gap between me asking the question. He already knew it. And our call was yesterday at 10:30 on a Monday. He's not flying out till Wednesday, but he already knew. So details. Dave, you want to add anything? Because I've been going on and on here about the expectations.
No, I want to make sure you get this unpacked. I want to remind everybody in the Mortgage Coach community, if you have a question, you want to make sure we cover during this conversation, put it in chat down below. This is streaming live in Facebook, so we can get live interaction. For those of you that are watching this as a recording in YouTube, Jonathan is a regular in our community. He's active in our Facebook group. I will be interviewing him more. So still put your questions down below, even if you're watching this in the recording on YouTube. Keep it rocking, brother. What's number 3?
Awesome. So number 3 is to make the decision that your number 1 business opportunity, and I believe your number 1 opportunity overall, really personally and professionally, is to get to an energy level of 5. Because what happens when you're at a 5 is the fish are jumping in the boat. This is when you're at Starbucks and you're just vibing with the barista, or you see your neighbor and you're asking what's going on with the kids, and you're almost forgetting that you're a mortgage professional, but you're so on that she brings up like, hey, I remember you helped us a couple of years ago with our mortgage. My sister's thinking of moving in town. You go, oh, that's awesome. She's like, I'd love to have her work with you. And all of a sudden you were just at Starbucks, but you're elevating at such a high level of energy and vibe and positivity that the fish are jumping in the boat, where people are turning to you for, again, that value. If you think of a truly world-class mortgage professional, it's about value. That's where, there's an inverse relationship between rates and value, right? People were super stuck on rates because the value of the mortgage professional isn't high enough. But when the mortgage professional tips that and goes way up on the value they create, the rates are almost like a non-issue because you've just articulated how you are their partner on this key financial decision. But again, this is about realizing that your number one opportunity business-wise is your energy. And people love the shiny objects. Look, isn't there something new or whatever? It just flat out works. It's the basics of getting that energy level to 5. Dave, do you want to add anything to that before I kind of unpack that a little bit more?
No, let's unpack that. And then I do have some questions that have come in on Facebook and we'll get to those, but go ahead and unpack it.
Yeah, so I think that the energy level of 5 is earned through a couple basic things: water, sleep, nutrients, exercise, and positive content. That's it. And people go, well, people love the idea. Well, yeah, if you could send me the thing. And I love coaching people. It's very systematized. I coach based on 24 key habits. And I'd love to coach some of you, but the reality is, and you could be like, oh, that was terrible, you shouldn't have said that. You can come up with your own scoring system. You could hold yourself accountable. In those 5 areas, you can rate yourself on a weekly basis from 0 to 3. 0, you're slacking, you didn't do any of it. 1, you're dabbling. 2, you're pretty dialed in. 5, you nail it. So your max, if you just came up with your own peak performance score, I do it on 24 key habits. But if you just said, all right, I'm going to score those 5 areas from 0 to 3, max score is 15. You can't hide from the data. You guys are all data people. You're mortgage professionals. That's why I love coaching on data, because there's a qualitative aspect to coaching, but there's a quantitative. That's why Jeremy was hammering those guys on their numbers on the sales call. It wasn't hammering, but it was like there was no wiggle room. They had to report their data. And if you think of these 5 key areas and you just say, all right, last week. So let's go back to Deborah's question, Dave, right? Like, all right, water is off. That's an issue in nutrients. In water, like this water bottle, which actually has our old company, we changed our product name, but this is Boot Camp Hub because I have like a lot of these in our basement. This is with me all the time with my phone. And if you look at someone that's nailing their nutrition, Dave, maybe you were raising yours because that's.
Well, I was like, we got to get a mortgage coach and a Win by Noon sticker on it, is what I was saying.
That's right.
You go to the Win by Noon store, guys, get mortgage coach and Win by Noon stickers, put them on your water bottle.
That's it. But the point is, the water bottle should be with you wherever your cell phone goes. So the only time, and I actually used to bring it, and Karen's like, you're not doing that anymore. I used to bring the water bottle into church, and Karen's like, that's like crossing the line. Like, that's really weird. You have it like under the pew. So I'm not doing that anymore. But besides that, you will not find me unless I'm exercising, in which case I have a water bottle with me, a different one. You will not find me anywhere without that thing. That's how you nail your hydration. And people go, well, there's got to be some other thing, or I need an app. Nope. Find a cool water bottle and get in the habit of having that everywhere your cell phone is, because that'll mean it's with you. In nutrition wise, back to Deborah's question, whether you're an athlete, mortgage professional, it doesn't matter what playing field you're on, our vibe is very much relating to what we put in our body. If you put proper fuel in, you can execute. If you limit your alcohol consumption, you can execute. If you watch your portions, you can execute. But where we get in trouble, right, is when we start eating like we're still in our 20s. Like, I'm 49, I'm in 50 in April, and I'm not doing Ironman anymore. So it's like, when I was doing Ironman, my nutrition was clean, but I could eat a ton of stuff because I was burning calories like a madman. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm still running the marathon, so my calorie burn is high. But as we get older, and I don't mean like we're old, but we're not in our 20s anymore, you start getting like north of 40, you got to start paying attention, particularly the portions. We get in trouble as we meet at a restaurant, Dave and I, Dave, I'll meet you at the restaurant, and they bring us whatever we order. That is too big a portion. I'm not going to start lecturing you guys on the details of, then you got to get your to-go bag. But there's certain moves where if you were a professional athlete, or if you made the decision that you're world class only, you would ask for the to-go bag. You wouldn't eat the whole thing at a restaurant. If you got takeout, you wouldn't eat the whole thing. If you order a sub, you wouldn't get a large, you get a small. When I eat a bagel, I don't eat a full bagel, I eat 3/4 of it. But you go, who cares? Aren't you running a marathon or whatever? It's another signal that I'm all in as far as how I fuel my body. Is that making sense? I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking you guys on the details, but it's those 5 areas. Scoring yourself 0 to 3, there's no wiggle room. If you scores it, 14 or 15, you're dialed in and you're probably elevating towards 5.
So Jonathan, I love the way you've kind of given some really simple, easy to remember anchors. Make sure you always have a water bottle next to your phone, and then drink out of it and keep it full. So check number 1. I love the way you just kind of gave that, always order a small sandwich. If you're playing the world class, always get a to-go bag and always get a sandwich. Anything that you would add, just some, I don't know, just little things to keep us in check for both content and sleep. Any kind of micro ideas that could help us stay on track with sleep and positive content?
Yeah, so the sleep, I'll just give a couple, which is a set bedtime, which again, some people like, what are we, 10? If you ask a professional athlete, the real ones, and I don't mean like there's pretend professional athletes, but I mean the ones that are like really executing, they can answer that like their birthday. You say, what's your bedtime during the season? Boom, 10 o'clock. They know, because it's super defined, because they know how key sleep is to execution in performance. And then also having a set wake up time. Maybe you have, by the way, your Monday through Friday, and then maybe on Saturday and Sunday you sleep an hour later. Where people get in trouble though is they go, I'm getting up at 6 Monday through Friday, and then I just kind of wing it on the weekend. Winging on the weekend is not good. Like if you're 6 Monday through Friday, maybe you go, okay, it's 7 or it's 7:30 on Saturday and Sunday. I like to bank a little extra sleep, whatever your deal is. But defining that is key. And I know I was kind of like hammering you guys at the beginning, but don't do the snooze. And it doesn't mean you like get out of bed like, oh my gosh, I'm such a slacker. Why did I do snooze? But it's this first thing, like, am I gonna do this thing or not? And you want to like for me, 5:30. My thing goes off, it's 5:30. Go boom. It's 5:30. I lay in bed. I go through my prayers. I go through my gratitude list. I say 2 things. Today's gonna be an awesome day, and I'm gonna listen to my positive voice. Feet are on the ground. I've already set the mental tone for the day. And then I go down. I'm not going to explain every little detail, but I go down. I have like a third a cup of water. Then I have a third a cup of orange juice. I'm sending the sign to my body. I'm going to hydrate you. I'm going to give you vitamin C. Then I grab my coffee, and I'm not turning my phone on and checking email. I'm blessed where we are. I'm looking out at the ocean. Our golden retriever's probably getting up, as we get our day started. We all do that, right? But the point is, I'm not bumping into personal excellence. I'm hunting it down, and it's systematized. You don't bump into it. And the more you systematize it, the more repeatable it is. Whether you're talking water, nutrition, sleep, exercise, positive content, we want to systematize it. So moving into Dave's second part of his question, which is positive content, we want to structure it. People go, oh yeah, Dave sends out these videos. Oh, I watched the UMass coach. That guy was good. I watched 10 minutes of it, but then I had the client meeting or whatever. Well, what would happen if you scheduled 30 minutes of positive content every day at 4:30, or every day that's a realistic time that you could consume 30 minutes to elevate? That would be a difference maker between bumping into, oh, I watched Carville's interview. I watched 10 minutes of it. I got to finish those last 50. We want to define it. So doing that is absolutely pivotal. And then one thing I'll layer on top of that, I think we talked about this last time I was on, Dave, but it's important for everyone, which is being so in tune with yourself to know whether you need positive content or whether you need personal development. You go, what's the difference? So, and there's some kind of hybrids, but let's say like personal development would be like Jeremy's video. That's personal development. That's tools, strategies, how you're going to execute, how you're going to serve. That's professional. That's professional development, right? Those are like tools and strategies for how you execute in your business. Personal development could be like a Wayne Dyer video or like an Ed Milet interview, which there may be some tactics in it, but you're like watching it, you're like, this guy's getting me jacked up. Like that's personal development, how you personally show up to life. In truly world-class athletes and people know what they need. And then as they open the toolbox, they go, all right, that was a crazy day at the office. As much as I want to read attributes, I think tonight I'm going to read something from Wayne Dyer or something a little bit more, I don't want to say intense, but less like tactical. And then you figure out what your mind needs during that defined window to consume either, positive content or kind of personal development / professional development. Does that make sense, Dave?
It does. So I want to go one more minute on personal content, and then I want to save time to have you speak to exercise too. So we've kind of got a, mortgage coach community, be your best, get level 5. Here's Jonathan's core 5, score yourself 1 to 3, max score 15. So on positive content, how much positive content should someone consume per week, per day? What do you recommend as the doctor?
Minimum 30 minutes, ideally 60.
Okay, now what about, so I personally think 30 to 120. Now what, because I'm ADD, like diagnosed ADD, took Ritalin in school, and I have just found that I need to, I changed my rhythm. For many years, I was 2 hours a day of positive content because my mind needed to be fed constantly. And so I'm feeding it constantly. Now I changed that, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years ago, where I said, I'm going to consume for 60 minutes and I'm going to create for 60 minutes. And that led to all the content I create. So, I'm very deliberate. It's pretty rare that I create less than 3 hours of content in a week. And it's pretty rare that I create more than 5 hours of content a week, because I split it up, like an hour consuming, an hour creating. And it's like a sanity check for me. Like if I don't do that, I'm either ADD out of control or I need to be medicated. So that's like my formula. What would be, what's your thought on that? Like going and pushing it beyond 60 minutes for people like Deborah. She's like, I've got a busy mind. Maybe she should be consuming and creating more content. What are your thoughts on that?
You just threw another alley-oop because I was going to mess this up. So I appreciate it big time, which is you want to not only consume, but then put your leadership hat on, particularly when you get a gem, like the Carville interview, the UMass coach that Dave posted. That is magic, you guys. Like Dave and I think, tell me if I'm off, Dave, like we couldn't suggest that more strongly. That video, like it's over the top. So when you see something that's like, whoa, you want to share it and be tactical about that. Is it your leadership team? Is it your spouse? Is it your sister? Is it your buddy Dave? Who is it? And just a quick text. Then you're sharing the gold, possibly creating content like Dave is alluding to. But I love the idea of using some of that time for that. It's really a personal thing. And I think if you can initially, even if you start with 10 minutes to get the habit built, that you're in this, how do I use positive content or personal development to elevate me? That's a game changer.
So I'm going to leave my recommendation on that, guys, is 1 to 2 hours. But I would start really getting clear. You're a referral-based mortgage professional. You need to consume and you need to create. And that create could be client newsletter, could be post on Facebook, LinkedIn. But this consume, create 1 to 2 hours a day between Jonathan and I is a recommendation. If you want to be a level 5 vibe human being, you've got to do both consume and create content. So let's close out with exercise. By the way, guys, I've seen a few questions like, what are we talking about, Coach Carville? I put a post a couple days ago on LinkedIn. I'll put a link to that down below. And we may have some exciting news that we're trying to get Coach Carville as a speaker at the Modern Mortgage Summit in October. And we're close to firming that up. I'll let you know in our community if we confirm it. But you got to listen to this 1 hour leadership podcast. I mean, pure gold for anyone who wants to play at a level 5 from a leadership standpoint. So Jonathan, go ahead, close us out on your recommendations on exercise.
I think the simple guidance I would give is you got to sweat. A lot of people, I call it, my Boston slang for it is they la-di-da along. And if you're like injured or you've been off for a while, the worst thing you do is go drop the hammer. But walking's not going to get you there. And I don't mean that rudely, but it's not. Like if you're going to walk fast, that can get you there. But you should be sweating. Sweating equals endorphins and dopamine. Endorphins and dopamine equal positivity. That's what if you think of, I call it the athlete eyes, and it's nerdy, but it's spot on, which is if you look at an individual and they're sweating, you can think someone 100 pounds overweight, get them super sweaty, and you get them to go look in the mirror, they can see exactly who they have the potential to be. That sweaty, nail the workout vibe, that's what we're trying to create. The best way to get to that, I believe, and the best way to drop weight, if you're trying to drop weight, is interval training. So interval training is as simple as you warm up for 5 minutes, and then you'd push for a certain amount of time, say 90 seconds. Then you'd slow down for 30 seconds. Then you do it again, or maybe it's you push for 2 minutes, you chill for a minute. That's what my company has the 2 patents on that are embedded into Energy Up. By the way, our program's free. It's energyup.co. You can go and there's 13 coaches streaming like 30 live workouts a week. I have like 500 recorded workouts on there. The core of that is interval training. So you just do like anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes of interval training, then cool down for 3 to 5 minutes. Total workout, ideally 30 minutes. It's about quality, not quantity. So I've done 26 straight Boston marathons. I feel nothing in my knees and hips because I do interval training 3 days a week. I cross train push-ups and sit-ups Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I do a long run. This morning I switched it up because we were in Vermont on vacation last week. We had a couple kind of things changed around with family visiting stuff. So I just nailed a six mile run. But we want to do interval training, ideally 30 minutes. So 30 minutes, 6 days a week, you're talking 3 hours a week out of 168 hours. A lot of people go, oh, I don't have the time. It's like, we have the time. It's only 3 hours out of 168 hours.
Guys, we all have the time. Jonathan, it has been an awesome hour. You know, when it comes to positive content, guys, remember you can reduce news. You know, watch less news. Remember, when there's consuming content, there's content that's entertaining. It's not positive or personal or personal event, just entertainment. So most people can get more positive content and self-development in. I think we all have enough time for exercise. If you guys have questions for Jonathan, put them down below. So Jonathan, if someone wants to hire you as a coach, if someone wants to, follow you and learn more, what links, what social media should they connect with you on? What's the best way to go to the next level and have you help create level 5 performance?
Yeah, so that you can go to peaklockin.com. And on that page, you'll see we have live events at our property in Vermont. Dave's going to be up there for one next month. We have that. We have, I'm blessed to do speaking engagements, and then coaching. I coach individuals. I also coach a bunch of teams in the mortgage industry. So I'd love the opportunity to serve you in any way, or you can link up with me through LinkedIn or Facebook. And if you have a question, need help in any way, turn to me. I won't start going, oh, do you want to get in a call about coaching? I don't do any of that. I just serve. I'm having a blast. I absolutely love what I do. I love being on this podcast with Dave. I love what Mortgage Coach is about, the tools, the strategies. And if I can serve you, your family, your clients, your partners, your friends in any way, reach out through Facebook, reach out through LinkedIn, reach out through peaklockin.com, and I will just serve you. And if you're interested in the other things we do, obviously reach out on that. But either way, I appreciate all of you. I appreciate you, Dave, giving me this opportunity to serve today, because I know you can elevate. And I'm just giving you a little nudge today, like, all right, come on now, let's get our A game on for our family, for our kids, for our spouse, for our teams, because you're a mortgage professional, because you love serving families. Let's get back to doing that, but feeling remarkable while we do it.
Love it, brother. So much value from today. We put a link down below. Go to peaklockin.com. There's a place at the bottom where you can get on his mailing list, all the different training that Jonathan's doing. Follow him on LinkedIn. when you, or excuse me, Facebook and LinkedIn. When you see him comment in the Mortgage Coach Facebook group, participate. You know, the best way to get value is to give value. When you give us a like, you give comments, it brings a lot of value to us on social media. So Jonathan, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for this mission we're on together. And I look forward to seeing you next month, just a couple of weeks from now in Vermont. Take care, man.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Give us a like down below, guys. Share this with your mortgage friends. This call is a wrap. And remember, Jeremy Forcier will be back at 11 o'clock Pacific doing a TCA accountability session where you'll get to see him lead a meeting live. And that will also be in our YouTube channel later today. Take care, y'all.